What's up guys, Agent here with another PTS video, and today we're going to be taking a second look at the Blackrose Prison Dual Wield, the perfected version of this set here, and how it compares to wearing a Monster Helm set on certain classes. So I already kind of covered this already with the video taking a look at the perfected arena weapons, whether or not they were worth running here. The general consensus that we came to with the Blackrose Prison Dual Wield is that it might be beneficial to run compared to a Monster Helm set, because it does pretty comparable damage to using a Monster Helm set, while also providing a little bit of additional cleave, at the very least compared to something like running Selene's, on top of additional damage mitigation. Now, at the time I made that video, one of the downsides of running the Blackrose Prison, or I should say one of the quirks of running the Blackrose Prison Dual Wield set, was that if you were on your back bar, it actually didn't proc the unique set bonus. They did fix that in 6.0.2, so now, when we're on our back bar and we are running the Blackrose Prison Dual Wield, we do get the additional damage done and damage taken buff, essentially, damage taken reduction if it's active and we're on our back bar. So really quickly, exactly what is the Blackrose Prison Dual Wield? Here it is right here. So nothing much has changed for the two-piece. It's pretty much just stamina regen. They toned it down a little bit, but two-piece is the big thing that's changed. So currently on the live server, it just gives you major protection for 3 seconds after you activate Blade Cloak, making it very, very niche. In fact, pretty much never really used too much in both PvP and PvE, because major protection is not really that important. But they did change it to be a little bit more DPS oriented. So now whenever you deal damage with Blade Cloak, you get Spectral Cloak for 2 seconds. This reduces the damage you take and increases the damage you deal by 10%. So it not only gives you some additional damage mitigation, it also increases the amount of damage you're able to put out. Now, of course, people want to take into consideration, do we use this, or do we use a Monster Helm set like the Selene's, or Marsalak, or Beladreth? So this is the setup that I ran here. So we used 2-piece Selene's, 5-piece Reliquant, 5-piece Lachesty's. You guys know the drill. Once we swapped over to the Blackrose Prison, I just basically replaced Selene's with the Lachesty's arms and shoulders and helmet. So that way we can maintain our 5-5 setup. We're just running the Blackrose Prison instead of the Selene's set here. And the question is, of course, is it worth running Blackrose Prison compared to Selene's? Well, let's go ahead and take a look at the numbers. And they were close enough that I decided to also standardize. That's going to be shown both in the description, and I'm going to just pull it up off screen as well. So this part here, actually, when you adjust for crit RNG, you pretty much got exactly the mean. So it's going to be a flat 83.4k here for the Selene's parse. So this is the parse with Selene's. Major Wedge kept all my blue CPs exactly the same. Everything is as you see here. I did use Surprise Attack rather than Rapid Strikes as our spammable here. Rapid Strikes might be a little bit more beneficial for Selene, just because Selene's does proc off of melee damage. Now, it can only occur once every 4 seconds, and it's a 15% chance whenever you deal melee damage. So take a look at our uptime here. 26 times 4 gives us a value of 104. We were in combat for 251 seconds, so 104 divided by 251. And that gives us a total uptime of about 41.4%. So I think with Rapid Strikes, we can probably push this a little bit higher, just because each hit of Rapid Strikes counts as melee damage. It can proc Selene's. So we might be able to hit a little bit higher if we were running Rapid Strikes. Rapid Strikes also is a little bit better than Surprise Attack as a spammable, so we could also get a little bit of DPS that way as well. It's just Surprise Attack, because I should say, because Rapid Strikes is a channel, it's not going to be very good in certain trial scenarios, so Surprise Attack might be a little bit more consistent, even though technically on a dummy, Rapid Strikes will pull a little bit higher DPS. Here, this is the Blackrose Prison Dual Wield setup here. So setup is as you see here, pretty much kept everything the same here for blue CPs. Same bars, we even used Deadly Cloak on both setups here. I don't know why this is Assassin's Scourge, but that it's the exact same ability. It's just the bar itself. And we pulled 84.1k. Now, when we adjusted for crit RNG, this actually was brought down to about 83.9k, just shy of 84k. So we're still hitting a little bit higher than this. So again, our base value here for Selene's is 83.4, and here when we adjusted for the crit RNG, it lowered it down just a little bit to about 83.9k, just a little bit under 84k flat. So with this parse, with the Blackrose Prison parse, we're actually getting a little bit more DPS compared to running Selene's. Now granted, we are using Surprise Attack rather than Rapid Strikes, which I said could give a little bit of an edge to Selene's, but it's well within margin of error, and depending on how lucky you are with crits, the Selene's parts could get higher, or the Blackrose Prison could hit higher. But the main advantage that we have with the Blackrose Prison setup here is that we get a little bit of additional cleave damage because Blade Cloak, it does hit everything around you within melee range, so you do get a little bit additional cleave, but the big part here is the additional damage taken reduction. So you get additional 10% damage mitigation by running Blade Cloak on top of also gaining major evasion. Now with this particular comparison, we were also running Deadly Cloak on the Selene's part, so we're still getting major evasion there, so that's not really that big of a bonus, but the 10% additional damage mitigation could make yourself a little bit more survivable. Now 10% damage mitigation actually isn't a huge amount. It's not just a flat 10% reduction, you also take into consideration all the other mitigation sources you have, but it is still something to be said. Plus again, you get additional cleave because you have Blade Cloak rather than the single target oriented Selene's as your March Helm set. Now Marshlock does have a little bit of a cleave, so does Veladreth has a little bit of a cleave, but Blade Cloak is in 360 AoE. Plus you get some additional stamina regen, so it's a little bit easier to maintain your rotation here. Take a look at our resources overall, look at our stamina. This is the Blackrose Prison setup here, and we only see the big dip here towards the end when we're doing an execute. And then this is the Selene's parse. So a little bit better sustained, but pretty comparable. The 103 stamina regen is not really going to make or break you. Now, one thing that I will note here is that if you are going to be using the Blackrose Prison Dual Wield, you do need to have bar space for Deadly Cloak on your front bar, and that's going to be a little bit more difficult for some classes. So on a Stamlight Blade, you do have the ability to put down Deadly Cloak, and you're not missing too much here. You do it already pretty much if you're running my build with Deadly Cloak on the front bar here. Stamplant, for example, could use Deadly Cloak. It remains to be seen whether it's better to use the global cooldown on jabs versus Deadly Cloak. But some other classes, I'm thinking maybe something like Stamsork, you might not be able to fit Deadly Cloak in, and in that instance, you wouldn't be able to make use of Blackrose Prison Dual Wield set here. So this is only going to be good on a handful of classes. I mean, there's 6 classes, so at the very least, 2 of them will be able to make use of it. You might be able to squeeze it in for the other 4 classes, but you're going to be giving up something else, and it might not necessarily be worth that trade-off there. So it's going to be on a class-by-class basis, but I would say that the Blackrose Prison Perfected version or the non-perfect version, they're both pretty viable for those classes that are able to make use of Deadly Cloak. Now again, the non-perfect version doesn't have the stamina regen, so it's not that big of a deal, so you don't have to run Blackrose Prison on Vet to get this set. You could just run it on normal, get the usual non-perfect version, and you still have the additional Spectral Cloak buff. So in terms of the uptime on the Spectral Cloak buff, if you take a look here at the Spectral Cloak buff, pretty much almost 100%, 97% uptime here. 94% uptime on Deadly Cloak here, 71% uptime here. So you do have to maintain that Deadly Cloak with the Blackrose Prison, but it's going to be well worth the effort. Well, that pretty much concludes this video. Hopefully you guys found this informative. Again, I will have the values for the adjusted DPS in the description below for you guys. So hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys in the next dungeon.